Everybody, this is Jeff Veale, the business guru, coming to you once again with 15 minutes of fame. It's an awesome session where you get a chance to come on and have your 15 minutes of fame, and we'll put you right across the world, guys. We'll put you across Quora, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Facebook groups, and of course, don't forget YouTube. And with all your social media links so people can actually reach out, communicate with you. What a great way to spread the word. Think about it, guys. A TV commercial would set you back about $30,000. And while the commercial's on, people might go to the toilet or go and make a cup of coffee or a sandwich and come back and miss the whole thing. Or 10 radio spots in your city probably set you back between $3,000 and $5,000, and they may play them at 2 o'clock in the morning. But with 15 minutes of fame, guys, we do what we say we'll do. We make you famous all over the world. All we do is charge you a small production fee of about $30 to cover all the costs of us putting it all together for you. But in the meantime, I've got a great guest today. He's near the Canadian border, and he's an awesome guy. His name is Byron Garcia, and Byron is a CEO and innovation consultant. He's going to tell you more about that very shortly. The company name is Natural Designs LLC. And basically, it's about innovation, sustainability, consulting, and green innovation. But basically, guys, he helps you design different types of products and comes up with solutions for you. So if you need a solution and you don't know what you don't know, reach out to Byron, have a cup of coffee. It costs you nothing to reach out and have a quick chat to him. So, guys, years in the industry, over a decade in conservation, ecology, sustainability, and, of course, innovation. Brief description, Natural Design provides consulting and workshops and innovations, helping companies, organizations create sustainable nature-filled solutions. The company focuses on integrating innovations into a product, design, systems and thinking, and workforce development with an emphasis on working with disadvantaged communities, which is a great, awesome concept. Some key achievements: led the stakeholder analysis and project evaluation for a US DOE grant, developed a pluralistic elevation framework for a Dr. Gutton for assessing innovation and sustainability impact, and lots more. There's a whole heap here, guys, but I'm going to let Byron tell you about that when we come on live very shortly. Nature has already solved the challenges we face. Our job is to listen, learn and apply. Isn't that true, guys? Be a better listener than what you are a talker. Interesting fact, he narrated a nature documentary in English for Tropenbos, Indonesia, and have a passion for connecting people with nature through storytelling. And storytelling is very important, guys. So right now, Byron's going to come on and tell his story. Welcome to the show, Byron. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here, Jeff. I really appreciate you making the time for this.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. Tell us about your journey and what inspired you to pursue your current career. Where did it all start?
Yeah, that's always a fun question to answer. I think for me, it all started back in 4th grade when they allowed us to play with acids to figure out what kind of content was in a rock. So if you were trying to figure out if a rock had calcium in it or not, they'd give you a little bit of this acid, you drip it on it. Wow. And then they would either fizz or it wouldn't. And I looking back on that as an adult, I'm like, I'm impressed they let us play with acids as 4th graders. So that's kind of where it started for me. I think that's my beginning point of just being fascinated by learning things in nature. And in 6th grade, I got to go on a botany adventure with one of the substitute teachers. They took the whole class on a field trip just to go identify plants. And that to me was like the best day ever. And it just kind of keeps going from there, having all these connections from nature further and further in my life as I grew older. Spent a lot of time hiking as a kid and a young adult, still do. And then, just was really searching for something when I was going into my college life of what can I do that's going to connect me to the natural world, but also benefit at the same time the natural world. So I went into conservation ecology and spent a lot of time dealing with invasives and figuring out how humans interact with the environment. And how can we balance our needs with the natural world? Because if we keep taking without any thoughts about how the things are finite, then we're going to end up in a bad situation where we're not going to be able to have access to resources anymore. Or, there could be catastrophic weather that might be happening for certain reasons because of harvesting certain resources. And too extractive of a manner. So I've been really trying to figure out how can we balance those needs. And that's where the conservation for me came in. And I've just been going on that track to figure out where can I have the best impact? Where can I leverage my knowledge, my passion and my skills to then figure out how do I get other people to see things the same way and get that perception shift? Because that's what it's really about, is the perception or the perspective of how we view the world and how we interact with it, to then how do we deal with the things that we buy, like food or any kind of material product, whether it's a computer or something else. We have a relationship with that. And depending on how we view that relationship, it changes how we consume things. So.
Yes, I can relate to that. I'm a single guy, and I'm always amazed. I'm a single guy, remember. Virtually every day, almost every day, I've got a garbage bin full of garbage. And I always think, where the hell does all this stuff come from?
Yep.
So I'm going down my trash chute, and I do think about it. I go, where the hell does all this stuff end up? So I'm putting down 7 big bags of garbage a week down my trash chute. You times that by the millions of people on the earth, where the hell does it all end up? And why do we use so much of it? It's pretty amazing when you really think about it in that light, right? What's been the most challenging aspect of your work, and how have you overcome that?
I think the most challenging thing is that perception or the perspective shift, because a lot of us are really fixed in our ways and we have a certain way of thinking and viewing the world. So the biggest challenge is meeting someone where they're at and then finding the lens or the avenue to help them shift, because the lexicon that we use or the words that we use are so important. You might react a certain way to one word and that might be a negative reaction, but you might react positively to another word that's the same meaning, but it just means something different to you. So figuring out what your audience is and where they're at, and then how do you talk with them? How do you interact with them really is what's going to solidify your ability to do something for them and with them. So that's been the biggest challenge, is noticing that, we all have our own ways of saying things, and then really taking that step back to say, well, where are they? What are they looking to hear? What do you know is going to be the way that's going to explain what you want to explain, but in a way that makes them understand, and then also allows them to make that shift on their own. So that way you're not forcing anyone into anything. They're making the realization themselves.
That's right. I appreciate that. Tell us an important moment in your career that pretty much changed the direction in which you're now going. Where was that pivotal moment?
I think that was probably when I found the master's program for biomimicry at ASU, at Arizona State University. I had been searching for something that I felt would be meaningful with my life and how I could have an impact. And once I found that program after the very first class, I said to myself, this is where I need to be and this is what I'm going to do. It was exactly what I was looking for.
I'm just curious, how many people took that class that year?
I don't remember exactly how many people took it, but the amount of people who showed up for graduation were probably around 5. So it's not a very large group. There was, I think, close to 13 that graduated that year, but I don't recall the exact number.
Yeah, fair enough. So it's a very niche, huh? So it's obviously people
exactly.
Who care, and they get it. They look ahead, innovators, as you'd say. In your opinion, what are the key qualities or skills that have helped contribute to your success along the way?
I think one of them is the passion to do something important. So I think we all are searching for a purpose with what we do with work, or we would like to have it, whether we do or don't. And so for me, I think that was one of the biggest things, was that I am very driven to have a positive impact on the world, and then also to myself, and, have a business and have a life that I feel is meaningful. So I think that's one of the biggest things for me, was just being passionate about my connection with nature and how that could be a great influence for other people and companies in general.
Well, it shows. Tell me, how do you stay motivated and continue to innovate in your field? What's the secret?
I think the biggest secret is what I've heard a lot from other people when I do study group sessions for classes, or when I interact with people in networking, is that we want community. So with my community, yes, the biomimicry or the innovation kind of community from a nature space, we will gather every so often, several times a year, with certain programs, and we'll just connect with each other and share, this is what I'm working on, this is what you're working on. We'll get excited about each other's work. We get to talk really nerdy, and then, we can get recharged for the rest of our time trying to get other people excited about biomimicry or innovation spaces.
Yeah, it sounds great. Tell us about a recent project or achievement you're particularly proud of.
I think one of the ones that I'm most excited about was when I created a biomimicry curriculum for teaching engineering to fourth graders by going out into nature and exploring and then collecting insects and things to then observe and be like, oh, what's that insect doing? Or, that insect can curl up into a ball. And the whole point was to instill this awe of nature and then figure out, well, if we're going to look at nature, what also can we do with this? What can this be done for either an engineering space, an architecture space, what have you. And we focused on engineering and creating a new prosthetic. So I worked with kids on how to create a prosthetic joint based off of a insect's articulating joints and how we could use that for human prosthetics. So it was really fascinating. They had a ton of fun. And yeah, it was really exciting.
Sounds like a good challenge. Tell me, what advice would you give someone aspiring to sort of follow in your footsteps? What advice would you give them?
I think the biggest advice is to always be aware of what you're saying and how you're saying it, because it's not only your passion, but it's what you're saying. So you don't need to always worry about the process when you're talking with people. And that's where really nerdy people like me get sometimes stuck, is in the fun of the process. But you really got to work on the outcome. So that is the most important thing I would tell someone, is worry less about explaining your process and more about what are you offering. So what is your outcome that you're giving someone?
Yeah, fair enough. Looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for the future?
I would like to continue bringing innovation through nature designs and bring that to more people. So it's really just about expanding that reach that I have and seeing how many more people will start really integrating what we can do with observing nature and then applying it to a human design challenge.
Yeah, get people on board. Tell our listeners and people watching this, what's the best way to reach out to you and find out more about your awesome program?
Yeah, the best way to reach me is through my website at naturaldesigns.com, and you can reach me at naturaldesignsvt.gmail or at gmail.com. And yeah, just get a virtual coffee with me, or if you're near me, we can do a little innovation walk, I like to call it, out in nature.
Lovely. Yeah, and you can see Byron's details on the screen, guys. You can reach out on LinkedIn as well. Before we wrap it up, Byron, tell us a fun fact about yourself that most people don't know, my friend.
The fun fact I always like to tell is that I've been mistaken for a bear at least 3 times in my life.
That's interesting. How did that come about?
The first time I was climbing a tree without branches, and my friend's mom came to the window and she's like, "Everyone come quick, there's a bear." And then my friend comes over and she's like, "No, that's just fine."
That's great. That's a funny one, my friend. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. So, guys, if you want your 15 minutes of fame and come on and have some fun just like Byron and I have, please feel free to reach out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I've interviewed hundreds of people all over the world, and just like Byron, they've all got a story to tell, and you've got a story to tell too, guys. So come on and get your 15 minutes of fame. We'd love to have you. Thanks for being on the show today, Byron. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you as well, Jeff. It's been great.
Thank you.